Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. It's me, Gene, your host of the TPO Dock Talk. Monday night, we got a two-parter tonight. We are going to bring in the top anglers from the CKB Trinidad event that held this last weekend, which these are some familiar faces. We got our special co-host as well, Mr. Straws is on deck with us. And we're going to meet some new friends here. We got the New Mexico Bassmasters Club that's going to be coming up for the second half of the show. You don't want to miss this stuff here, folks. We're going to talk to some of their top anglers and learn about their club down there. And of course, the All Americans got an event at the end of the week. We'll talk about that as well. Right now, let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. What's happening, folks? Happy Monday night. Welcome to the TPO Doc Talk podcast. Folks at home that are watching live, thank you guys so very much. If you're watching from YouTube, don't forget, smash that subscribe button. That is a huge, huge deal. Tell your friends, your family, grandma, uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, roommates. Tell them all go subscribe for us. That is a major help for us on the YouTube side of things. Hey, man. We've been busy here. There's been a lot of stuff going on with a lot of clubs. A lot of fishing's been taking place. You know, it's a mad fast dash to get all this stuff in before the summer months really crank in. That's when things start to slow down just a little bit on the tournament side for some folks. And we're no different from that out here. So that things have been going crazy. But you know what's not is the All American Kayak Series. Kentucky Lake is going on this week. You still have time to get signed up to this thing, man. Kentucky Lake, they're going on June 22 and 23. The Visitors Bureau there is helping bring the All American Kayak Series into this destination lake. I'm telling you, man, this thing is legendary. It had a run of some a downturn for a few years, but it's no longer there. If you look at the results coming out from the boat tournaments, kayak tournaments, this place is fishing awesome. It's a huge section of water to choose from with Kentucky that you can get to there. Moore's Resort is the host. That's where the awards will be up by Cambridge Shores up there. The Lake Barkley and Kentucky are both in play. If you go out to Tourney X, look under the club tabs, All American Kayak Series. Look for the AAKS Trail Series, and you will see the event there for Kentucky. There's a map there that's listed out with the boundaries on this. You name it, the way you want to fish, man, you can fish it here. And it's like I said, if you're on the fence, this is an event you want to get to for sure, man. Payouts when the numbers are up there, payouts of the All American Kayak Series are literally second to none. The money that comes in is as much of it as possible goes to the anglers, and that's just the way Josh has created that series, man. And so yeah, go check it out. Tourney X, go get signed up. Kentucky Lake, you don't want to miss that stuff. All right, let's go ahead and bring our co-host in here. He is definitely no stranger to the show, Mr. Jimmy Straws. What's happening, Captain?
What's going on, Gene? Once again,
That's
thank
right.
you for having me.
Telling you, man, we got a parking spot for you now. You know, you got a nameplate. I mean, you're moving on up, man. This is the big time.
Yeah, well, I'll take it. I'll take it.
You know what? When the ratings show it, you know, the public doesn't lie. They like Jimmy Straws, man. So
Uh, everybody likes a clown, right?
like Turner and Hooch, you know, Starsky
Right.
and Hutch, you know,
Right.
whatever.
Mo and Larry.
Mo and Larry. Far more accurate. Yes, indeed. Well, good stuff, man. Have you ever fished Kentucky Lake?
I have not.
I have not either. I really wish I could make this one here, but with the way everything is lining up here, schedule and everything, it's just not in the cards for us. It's a long haul for us to get out that way.
Yeah, it is. I will say this a little. I'm not fishing a tournament, so I feel like I can give a little bit of juice, so to speak.
Yeah.
There's a local TV host here named Chad LaChance
Yeah.
who took out a young kid named Ryan Wood, who was an excellent young fisherman here in the state of Colorado. And they had the Junior World Championships, I do believe. it was, and it was at Kentucky Lake. And Chad was his captain on the boat, right? Because he was underage. The kid couldn't drive the boat. Him and Chad went to Kentucky Lake. I do believe it was Kentucky Lake. And they were in 3 to 5 feet of water in the backs throwing a jerk bait because Chad is a jerk bait king.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
He won. Ryan Wood won like the 2018 Junior BASS World Champion on a jerk bait in 3 to 5 feet of water at Kentucky Lake.
I love that.
Isn't that crazy?
That's like, legendary
that's so
stuff.
Off the wall.
Yeah. See, and that's my jam right there, man. Is just find it out of the box, not normal, this and that, and just and put something like that up. That's absolutely super cool. And that's the thing. You can get out and fish like some super deep ledges. You can fish current. You can fish backwaters. Kentucky Barkley, man. You can do just about anything you want over there. It's got it all, to mess with for sure.
That's going to be a fun event. I think you guys are going to hit the timing right on that with the All-American. It's good. It's going to be good. Those fish are going to be chewing.
It's going to be a little bit busy. That much is certain because it's just, a month into the busy season, but it's so big that I think you can get away, and not have to worry about stuff. I think you're pretty well capable. And like I said, there's so much water there, man. I mean, you can, it's easy. I don't know how many boats would need to be on there for it to be crowded for you.
We don't. Nothing's crowded like here. I mean, if you can live around here and survive the day and come home, then any place else is.
Well, and if you've ever fished Lake of the Ozarks, there's certain areas that you just don't go, right?
Right.
When the traffic's like that, the wreck traffic gets nuts and crazy, then you just stay the heck away from it.
Yep.
So, all right, man. So, CKB, Trinidad, we were just there. And what an awesome little fishery, man. First and foremost, I want to kudos to you for putting this out to the club. We did this right, man, because locking it up at 25 anglers was literally about the perfect amount of boats. There were a few places where guys were trying to get to that I could tell was starting to get a little crowded.
Yeah.
But that water, it fished pretty comfortable with 25 of us there. And so I just kudos, man. That was I know it's not, we want to try to get as many as we can in, of course, for these events. It's more fun and this and that. But when you're dealing with a body of water like that, dude, I had one of the most amazing pre-fishing experiences I've had in a long time. That place was, you just couldn't miss them. You could throw a tennis shoe out there and hit them. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was pretty. And not to mention the dam was completely cut off. So I'm going to say that forced 5 of our 25 to go to community holes or to go, everybody knows the first point by the boat ramp around the backside of that, or go up by the islands in the sand up at the west end. So it probably crowded a little bit by not having the dam available for a lot of us, because I know I would have definitely liked to have hit the dam.
Our boy Tim would have been all over that in a heartbeat.
For sure.
Tim he is literally a dam master.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy knows how to pick apart a dam for sure.
Yeah. Well, it was a great fishery though.
It is. And it was an awesome pleasure. Number one, talking to the CPW Rangers during Thursday and then Friday. They were super helpful, man, and tuned in. The way they did those inspections and sealed us up for the next day, super easy to work with, and that's how we can work together as anglers and a conservation, piece. That's how you get things done. Larimer County, if you're paying attention, watch what Trinidad does, for the love of God, because that's even with the time schedule there, where it would have been nice to get out there about an hour earlier, but still they went to whatever links they could to make it easier on us, the paying customers, right?
And for sure. And that's a lot of phone calls. That's a lot of phone calls from me beforehand as your tournament director, trying to figure out what's going to be the best route, how we can make it efficient for our anglers, still get out early enough, and then not put a burden on the staff to have 25 guys sitting down the line waiting to get inspected, and then we all got to drive to a different spot. I mean, I've had I was over an hour on the phone several different times, just talking and clarifying. And then when I got there, Michael, the inspector, we figured out a way to bolt those motors or anything to any fixed location on the vehicle.
Yeah.
So we could all get pre-inspected. Only thing I wish is they'd put a ranger there at 5 a.m. so we could
Right.
get out a little earlier, because we are at the mercy of the inspection times that Colorado Parks and Wildlife or each individual state park starts out with. That's up to them.
And my theory is, I mean, I don't mean this in any disrespect, but what are they paying the rangers at the stations there? 25, 30 an hour, maybe?
The Rangers?
Is that probably way over
The-
what they're getting paid?
Yeah, the Rangers. Yeah, but higher advanced ones are. But
So for one extra hour, I'll bet you all of us would chip in the 25, 30 bucks, whatever it is, to get them there an hour early.
Right. No, you know what?
I'll bring donuts, homie.
That might be worth a conversation at those single, especially at Trinidad. What's nice about it's a single launch location. So if we had to pay for a man hour to be there, that would be well worth it to get out that extra hour early.
And I'm not joking. I'll bring donuts and coffee, whatever homie needs, to get us going so we can get out there and not miss that first. Because I'll tell you, I went out at 5:30 on Friday, and that's beautiful, man. That was such prime. I waited till 6:30 to cast, but just because I wanted to simulate what was going to be going on Saturday. But oh, so beautiful, man. It was such a perfect, part of the day. And you could then get out of there a little early so we didn't bake and cook in the sun, because that was a little rough, but
yeah, it was warm.
For sure. Well, listen, before we bring our guest in here, we got the top guys, the hooks, the sticks in there. I wanted to, for those, and this is mainly for the anglers that were down there, I'm normally not one to go antisocial, and I went hot dumpster fire on Saturday. And I wanted to I basically did not go to the awards. I didn't go out to dinner. I just kind of pulled back, and I just wanted to, first off, I've had several people going, dude, are you okay? I am perfectly fine. Okay. I was in my head quite a bit, and I was being a little bitch, and I needed my time to be a little bitch just for once, because what has happened, I've discovered, what has happened is that my time fishing has been literally reduced to taking people fishing or tournaments. And I don't know, but I think part of what my decision-making problems that's coming up is that it's work, and it's not the love that I had. I'm not finding that benefit that I used to find from it. So I'm going to resolve that piece there. But dude, I had literally, I was telling you this, James, I had, but by no measure, I had a limit plus some by 9:30 on Friday from multiple locations. I didn't sore lip or wear a location out. I moved around quite a bit. It was there. It was ready to go. But one thing I forgot, and I realized this on the drive home, I forgot where I was fishing. I forgot I was in Colorado still. I'll tell you what, those weeds at Trinidad, the bite that I found was a spook bite and a swim bait bite. And it worked on Friday, but that post frontal deal is real. And what worked on Friday, 3 hours I spent on that spook in that location for no bites whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I was so stubborn, like, I'm not giving this up, because I was averaging like 17-inch fish, man.
In
practice. In practice. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I was 80, 85 for sure, is where I was going to end up. And I'm like, that's got to be good enough, that I'll be happy with that result, regardless of where it lands.
Yeah.
Because I want to say this, I have no problem getting my ass kicked by the guys we fish against, you or any of them, because these are some great human beings and they're damn good anglers. I can handle that. But every one of these tournaments this year, I'm kicking my own ass. I'm not even giving them a chance to kick my ass, because I'm just spinning myself out before they ever get to me.
Yeah.
Beating the special kid up at school is nothing to be proud of, okay? I'm going to get canceled for that one. But, the whole point is you know how we talk about slumps and so forth? Because the experienced guys that have been doing this a while, we know that that's part of the game. But no one ever talked about what happens when the slump becomes your norm, dude.
The slump is your pattern. You
Yeah,
have your own
that's
pattern.
it.
You
That's
got
my
the gene
pattern.
pattern.
Is a hot dumpster fire come tournament day.
Well,
So that's what I need to square away in my head, and I got some plans on how to do so. I think I've got something there, and I'm going to go try to find the love of the sport again. I'm going to bring that back. I'm very, very glad we have a lull in action
yep,
right now. This
yep,
couldn't come at a better time.
yep.
Um, and that way I can. And I apologize to my TPO team guys that kicked ass at this event. I should have been there for you at the awards, but like I said, I just needed a few minutes to kind of go back. I ran into town looking for a vape shop because I needed coils for my for my vape, and by the time I found out that Trinidad doesn't have a single vape shop with my coils, I went back and just changed and hung out and ate macaroni salad in my trailer for a while.
Oh God. Oh no. It was
Yeah,
like 95. Put the macaroni salad on the roof and you'd be just fine.
I got a fridge, dude. It's. I mean, I'm not a heathen.
Well, always remember this, and I joke about it, but there's some seriousness to this. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday fish are not the same as Saturday and
Yeah,
Sunday fish in Colorado. People don't
absolutely.
believe me. You can find something through the week consistently, 1, 2, 3 days. And on the Saturday, boom, as soon as that sun comes up, those fish are different. Nobody wants to believe me. And as far as slumps go, all this stuff that's behind me here, I skip a year. Like this year, I've got one fish at Horsetooth. I caught one fish on Red Willow day one, and I caught one fish at Red Willow on day two. I think Trinidad's the first time I actually got a limit. So
There you
it,
go.
it is slumps, and my wins go like every other year. So I'm in my slump this year, and I know
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not in it for AOI. I'm just gonna have fun and make it exciting for you guys.
Yep. And that's we're gonna fix some stuff there. So, at any rate, wanted to get that stuff out there because I know a lot of people have been reaching out because it's not the norm, but like I said, just needed to take a minute there for sure. Um, and yeah, here's a dude. We're gonna get him on, folks, before too long. Jason Lovall is quietly the only guy that's challenging one of our guests tonight. He's creeping up on him. Jason is having a season of seasons himself. It's having a great time. Jason is a truck driver, so Jason's on the road, and Jason truck drives in like the middle of nowhere, so his phone reception is junk. What we're going to do is I'm going to get a deal, catch him, and we're going to record a deal, and we're going to talk about his season and so forth, and then we'll play that on one of these shows here. But
Nice.
our guests have been extremely patient, hanging in the wings here. Let's go ahead and get these guys in, and bring them in here real quick. Coming in at third place, no stranger to the show, Mr. Joshua Gardner. What's up, Josh?
What's up? How's it going?
Second place, we got one of our pro staff guys here, and of course, a Colorado near legend himself, Mr. Scott Brands. What's up, Scott?
How much, Gene? Thanks for having me on.
You bet, of course, brother. Our first place angler, Mr. Paul Roth. First off, happy birthday, Paul. Today is Paul's birthday, and he is out having a birthday dinner, so he couldn't join us here tonight. But Paul put on a display out there that was phenomenal, man, and that was super cool to see him. Because he hasn't been at too many of our events, so it was cool to see him jump into CKB here and take our money. Thanks, Paul.
Typical Paul.
For sure. So I want to do one thing here. Let's go ahead and first start because Josh, you told me that you and Paul pretty much caught him kind of the same way. So talk to me, man. Trinidad, what was your practice like? What did tournament day look like? How did it pan out?
Yeah, practice was weird because, like you said, I mean, you, I literally accidentally casted behind me and ended up catching a fish. So they were eating really good, and they were eating pretty much, with no discretion and everywhere. And so it was one of those things where it's like, I know there's fish everywhere, but I gotta go find the ones that are going to count because I know that this lake, there's probably a potential for 90-inch limit out there if you
Yeah,
can find it.
for
And I
sure.
was looking at the numbers from last year, and I think it took 89 to win it last year for CKFC. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna need some big fish. And so I kind of went all around the lake in practice. I mean, Trinidad's not that big, and I covered a lot of water, and I was just kind of trying to figure out where those bigger ones were hanging. And it's no secret that I'm not the best grass fisherman ever. So a lot of the lake for me, I was kind of like, I don't want to play with that stuff. So, I can fish it when I need to, but it's definitely not my stronger suit. And so Saturday morning rolls around, and I kind of had a game plan, but it was pretty loose. And so I launched off the main boat ramp, and I hit that first point, that community hole point, and surprisingly, it was just me and one other guy out there. And I fished that sucker for probably an hour and a half, and I didn't even get. I caught a bunch of, micros, like the little 3-inchers that are out there, and I was thinking to myself, well, this isn't great. And so I ran to my next spot, which was just kind of around the corner, and fished there and nothing. And what I was seeing on scope just kind of didn't look right to me. It wasn't the right spot.
Oh, Matty, not a grass fisherman? He has a weakness.
Yeah, wait till I make the schedule next year.
Right.
All grass, baby.
Hey, I'll go scope them in open water in 60 feet if I have to before I'm gonna go flip grass. So it's something I'm actively working on. I've got a list of grass ponds I'm gonna start fishing, so I'm working on it. But Saturday, I basically ran all my spots, and in the morning, I was like, this is not going great. I caught one fish, 16.75 early in the morning, just kind of on a random cast, and that was the only fish I had until 11 o'clock, and I literally looped the whole lake everywhere I had a waypoint. And I had an offshore school that I had found the night before the tournament on Friday morning, I guess. And I was like, well, that's an easy limit. They'll be there. And when I got there, there was a school of like 2.5-pound jumbo perch, the biggest perch I had ever seen.
Yep.
And so I ended up jacking 2 of those, and I was like, okay, I got to get out of here. The bass aren't here. And I started sweating, and I was like, oh, okay, it's time. So I took off the hoodie, and I went back to a flat that I knew I'd seen him pull up on when it was getting later in the day. And I kind of cruised over the flat, and a fish swam right under the kayak, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's going to happen. And so between 11:30 and 3 or 2, I caught all my fish, and all the ones that counted except for that first big one, and those were my 5, and they were all just on little stick ups, and they were actually either eating or mouthing their fry. It was hard to tell, but I was blind casting a Ned rig on that flat, and I caught 2 back to back, and I checked the spots where I was catching them, and they were right on those trees. And so I literally just ran up and forth, like up and back on that flat all day, just pitching at those trees. And every time I got around one with fry in it, and the wind laid down, and it was like perfectly flat calm, I'd pitch in there and fish every single time.
Nice.
So it was pretty cool. It was a pretty fun way to end a day after a pretty rough morning.
Yeah. And that's the difference, though, is your mental game, man, has just been on freaking point this year. Kudos to you for that, especially being a young guy that can keep that stuff dialed in there. Because that's, I mean, at the 3-hour mark, I spun my own old dumbass out. I just in my head, I started going, again, really? Is this going to happen again? And so that's been the most impressive thing about you this whole season, brother, is the fact that you're making smart decisions out there. We know the skills there, but your mental game has just been on point, man. And so keep that rolling. That's awesome stuff. And yeah, good shit.
Yeah, I'm trying. I had the opposite last year where I'd always catch all my fish in the first 2 hours, and then I'd catch nothing the rest of the day. And this year it seems like I can't catch a fish in the first 3 hours of the tournament, and then I'd like the last 3 hours I'm going from 0 to flying up the leaderboard. So I'd like a good mix so I don't stress myself out as much. But right now I'm one or the other. So
Roger that.
Well, our next event's coming up at Norton in September, and I don't think you've been there, right? Have you been there, Josh?
No, I was gonna go, and then obviously that didn't happen last year because of all the shenanigans. But it'll be my first time, so I'm excited.
So I'm assuming you're going, right? You're going to make Norton.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as I don't have like an exam the night of the tournament, I'll be there. And even then, I'll probably just tell my teacher I need to do it. So
I'll have to talk to your teacher and put a couple exams in line so we can have a chance.
Yeah, no, I'll be fine either way. I'll figure it out. I can probably do a math exam on the water. They only take like an hour. You know.
So you already study in Norton? Are you already putting in your work there? I mean, I know you well
I
enough.
would. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. No, don't worry about it, Josh.
I've been looking at it since probably January, February, because I knew we were going to go back. And I go on Facebook and I search it and I check everything. And there's a couple other sites that I'm not going to tell people about, but there are places to find some public information that are good, and go from there. And I try not to go in with too many assumptions. I think that if you go in with a ton of knowledge, you're going to fish the dock talk pattern, and you're not going to catch anything. But there are definitely things that each lake kind of has its own biological system, and there are key players in those systems for every lake. And if you can get a couple of those hints, that helps a lot. So
Good shit.
It's different. It's different at Norton because once again, your favorite. It's got grasses and it's got wood everywhere. It's got some deep stuff you could work as well, but I think it's a good mix, and I'm glad we're going to places like that, so we're all not just smallmouth experts at this point between Horsetooth and Trinidad, Pueblo.
I would like to see a bag of green fish. That would be nice.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be out there drop shotting it with 6 pound and 40 foot of water. Just you watch.
Use 4 pound. It's better. You get way better action. You'll be fine in Norton with 4 pound.
I agree with that statement.
So much of that, I just threw up so much. Drop shot, 4 pound. Oh my God.
He was pitching last year. He was pitching 6 pound line into the trees at Red Willow, and I'm over there watching him. And he's like, snap, 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 and I'm like, you're gonna get hurt. I mean, goodness gracious. This year we go out to dinner. He's like, I'm not throwing that 6 pound this year.
Guess what, guys? I tied on 8 this year, and I actually got some fish. So,
good Lord. So I can't even see that fishing line. It's so small. All right, man. Well, let's move to the homie himself. And here's the story on this. There talk about a salt in the wound and just a big, the M&M of Trinidad here, 2 fingers in the air to the pre-fishing. What time did you get in, Brands?
I rolled up to the lake at 5:45 tournament morning. I woke up at 2 a.m., out of the house at 2:30, and drove down there for the tournament.
Folks, keep in mind, you are what, 4.5 hours away, Scott?
It was about 3.5.
3.5, yeah, because you're coming from like Loveland, Fort Collins,
Johnstown, yep.
Johnstown,
yep,
all the way down to the southernmost point of Colorado. And you come in there and wha-bam, smash second place and big bass to boot, 18 1/4, which that's a solid smallie there. I'm glad to see the big bass at least got into 18 this year.
Yeah, Trinidad got some nice ones. It was back to back casts. I caught a 17 3/4 and then the 18 1/4. And those were the 2 fish that really, really bumped me up. I was very fortunate to hit that spot before anybody else got there. But yeah.
Good stuff. So, I mean, were you fishing history, or did you decide to just get in the lake, grab a ham Sammy, and figure something out?
Yeah, it was mostly history. It's kind of community stuff. It's just, those humps or whatever that everybody knows about on the West End. I've just got waypoints of all that stuff. And I asked Matt Collins, who had pre-fished, what's the water level like? And he said it's a little bit lower than last year. I was like, okay, so all the same stuff is likely going to be in play. So our launch just went to the spots that I'm used to fishing, and they weren't in my first couple of spots. And then third spot, I found a group of fish and got a 16 1/4, I think it was, first fish, and then then I got a 12 incher out of that spot and a 15. And then it was just, mostly 15s until I wasn't getting anything in the spot that I kind of started out at. Kept on going through my waypoints, and I hit another sunken island and cast it out there, and I set the hook on one, and I was like, oh, snag, and then started pulling, and I was like, yeah, I thought that was a bite. And it's like, that's when you got a good fish, when you can't tell if it's a fish or a snag. but I think he might have actually been hung up a little bit because I couldn't get him in. So I think I was like hung up on a rock or something. So I
Yeah.
actually pedaled to the fish, and then I sort of felt him come out of whatever he was hung up on. And then I was able to pull him up, and I netted him and 17 3/4. And I, got my pictures, cast it back out there, and then set the hook again. I was like, oh, that's another one, and 18 1/4. And got that one, and cast it out again, hooked another one, and it's like 14. I'm like, what happened? Where's the big ones at? So yeah, I was very fortunate to get those two fish, and I was stuck. I think I had my limit at 11 or so,
Wow.
and then my smallest was 15 inches, and I caught like 5 or 6 more 15 inches throughout the rest of the day. The thing about those trinidad fish is they were fighting so hard that every time I hooked one, I was like, oh, that's him. And then I get it in closer, and it's like another 15 incher. And some of them, they were just fighting so hard, a lot bigger. They felt a lot bigger than 15 inches.
That's what happens when you guys are throwing these 5-foot poles with 2-pound test line on it.
Yeah, whatever.
Everything feels huge.
I was throwing 10-pound. I wasn't throwing that 6-pound stuff that Gardner
All right.
throws with the red
All
willow.
right.
But no,
10 pounds legit.
yeah. Then a couple other fish, I was like, oh, that's definitely bigger than 15. And it turns out to be like a 19-inch rainbow and then a 20-inch walleye. And it's like, come on, man.
Wow.
No,
Yeah.
but you were talking about lulls earlier, and I felt like I've been in a slump this year, not just in tournament fishing, but just in fishing.
Yeah.
Every time I've gotten out, it seems like I've been just sucking it up. And after the last Horsetooth tournament, I went out this past week on Wednesday. So I guess in a way, my pre-fishing was at Horsetooth on Wednesday. But I went out there, and I just needed to get a little bit more confidence. Went out there for fun and got like 75 inches or so. I treated it like a tournament day, and 75 inches on Horsetooth, like we won't win it, but it's a decent day on Horsetooth. And it gave me some confidence back. I was like, okay, so I can have a good day out here.
Yeah.
And so it was just, I haven't been pre-fishing much for tournaments this year anyways. Red Willow, I showed up the night before and just fished at tournament day. So just decided with Trinidad, I'm going to go out there and just fish, do my thing, and have some fun. And yeah, so with that, I didn't have any pre-fish patterns that would spin me out. Sometimes that spins me out if I get on them in pre-fishing and then I can't find them on tournament day. So here it was, fish history, hit my spots. Okay, they're not here. Go to the next spot. Try some different baits, and ended up catching them on a Texas rig craw and a football jig, just dragging that stuff slowly. And that's how I love to fish. So yeah, it kind of catered to my style. So yeah.
And it almost kind of benefited you not showing up there and seeing how fire it was, man. So you just went in and you had no preconceived notion of what was going on. And I have a feeling that's maybe what led to why you were able to be consistent throughout the days, because you were just fishing what you saw right in front of you.
Right. Yeah, I did go out there. It was windier than I expected it was going to be. I wanted to throw a walking bait in the morning. I love throwing walking baits on Trinidad, but I thought it was a little bit too windy, so I tried a whopper plopper, and I couldn't get him to go on that. I saw one on live scope, chase it in and blow up on it, but he didn't get it. It didn't hook up with him. But otherwise, I was mostly using that live scope to really find the edges of where those islands, it'd be rock, and then you would hit the grass. I was trying to fish right there in the transition zone, and that's where I was finding them. So,
how much would you say live scope played in this one for you?
Not a lot. I could have done it without the live scope too, just by feel. But yeah, it was just more efficient just to use the live scope and like, okay, there's the edge. And every once in a while, I could see a couple of fish up in there. I'm still not good enough with live scope to really tell what kind of fish they are. But based on like how deep they were and just their behavior, I was like, those are likely smallies. And then I cast it in there, and then I, could catch one or two to kind of confirm it. But oh yeah, one other thing, I saw that big one, that 17 3/4 that I caught. As I was reeling it in, I saw it on live scope, and I saw another big one with it, just like chasing it in. So I was like, okay, so there's two big ones here, and then cast it right out. I don't know if it was that exact same fish, but yeah, then 18 1/4. So those big ones, they were grouped together, and I was a little bummed out. I only caught the two. If I had caught another 17 1/4 or something, then I could have beating Paul, but anyways.
See, in my mind, as soon as you caught those two bigs, I would have hit waypoint and then I would have continued my day. Like you fish your thing and you caught that 14. You're like, well, what the hell happened to the big ones?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to fish the rest of the day, anything else, without thinking about when do I go back to that spot? When do I go back? Are more big ones going to move back in again? When do I go back?
That's what I ended up doing too. I think I hit that spot 2 or 3 more times throughout the day. And then eventually I was like, all right, I have to get these fish submitted because the service for me out there is a little bit spotty. So I was just sort of fishing and trying to move into a spot where I would get better service to actually submit them. And a little bit of a mud line formed where I was fishing, and I caught, a decent smallie, and that's where I caught that walleye out of there. So I fished there for a while. There were some stick ups in there, caught some smaller, like 13 inchers out of there. But yeah, it was a good day. I caught a lot of fish, but I feel like I just couldn't find those 16 to 17 inch fish that I really needed to put me up on top. But no, it was a lot of fun. I love fishing Trinidad. That's a really fun lake. And yeah, you were mentioning earlier the 25 people. I was gonna say to Jimmy that I think that was perfect. It was every once in a while you would share a spot with somebody, but I don't remember how many we had last year. Last year at CKFC, if we hit 40, but you would share a spot with like 4 guys or 5 guys, and here it was like so you could pretty much go wherever you want and have some space. So yeah, I thought 25 was a really good number out there.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's something that when we have our yearly end of the year meetings, all the anglers show up, all our members, and I put some of this stuff out there for vote. And this is something that, I had mentioned limiting possibly smaller bodies of water, and the anglers at the meeting were all over it and they said, yes, let's do it. But I have gotten some feedback even from Josh there saying that there's been some chatter of, well, if you limit 25 people, and somebody really wasn't committed to the series and they fish the first 2 events and they do well in AOY and Trinidad sold out in 3 hours, how does that person who's running continue their streak if we're limiting an event?
Right.
Does that make sense? So I get that, but my answer to that is most people are going to commit to this series if you're serious about the series anyways. And it's those guys who are going to take up the spots instantly anyways for the 25. So if you think you're going to have a shot or you want to have a shot, and I don't open the registration for this right away. I wait some time. So people should be able to get it. But that's the only issue I do see. Josh brings up a valid point about limiting it only allows people to sign up quick, and guy with AOY might be stuck out of it if he starts the season well.
Yeah, well, Josh was in the middle of nowhere, right? When you signed up for Trinidad, you almost missed it.
I literally had 1 bar of 3G when I was signing up. Like, I was telling my brother, we were in the middle of like a mountain road, and I was like, you need to slow down at the top of this hill so I can get service long enough to press like proceed to check out. I was stressing because there was 23 guys in already. So there were the last 2 spots. And I was like, I am not going to miss this tournament. I love this league so much. And so we were trying to get it done, but I finally got it in. And yeah, it was a little stressful, but thankfully I'd like just woken up from my nap when I saw that it was open. So it was good timing. Yeah.
So we've got our New Mexico guys starting to join in here. I see I've got 3 of them in here. We still need a couple more. Looking for Matt Ramey. Matt, if you're watching us online here, join up with us, brother, so we can we'll make the transition and get the New Mexico Bassmasters in here, talk about their events, and we'll get that rolling. Josh, how much did 2 questions? Number 1, like Scott was saying, did you go back and do like a milk run? Did you come back around to your spots? And number 2, how much did Live Scope play for you in this event?
I sight fished every fish. I was literally standing on the seat of my bona fide for a little bit and just looking at where those stick ups were in the water, and you could see the fry clouds around them because there's a little darker spot.
Yep.
And so I didn't scope a single fish except for the first one I caught of the day. That was kind of, I saw some fish out there and I pitched out my worm out there, but I wasn't like targeting an individual fish.
Nice.
I definitely could have caught all of the fish that I caught without live scope. And then as far as like a milk run, once I didn't really have that much time because I had from 11, 12, 1, 2, when I was just starting to put together that pattern. And I was like, if I leave this flat, people are going to come in and see what, like, you could see the fish. They were literally rolling on top and eating the fry. So, like, you could see them. And I was like, I can't let somebody come in here and see these fish because there weren't enough to share for everybody to get a limit.
Right.
So, I don't know if people were consciously aware that I was doing it, but I was guarding that whole flat pretty well. I mean, if somebody was coming in, I was literally walking them off the flat. Like I would get parallel with them and I would cruise with them until they kind of went around the corner, and then I would run back up to the brush pile that I was fishing, and I would just keep kind of working my way down. But my
Nice.
tracks on my graph is literally just a line like this across those brush piles.
I had to clear tracks because I was working the stretch, and Live Scope was playing for me, even though I only took 6. But Live Scope was playing for me, but I had to clear my tracks. I couldn't even get on my waypoints. It was just a giant red blob at that point. I couldn't even see anything.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
Josh, what part of the lake was that flat on? I'm imagining you out on the west end, but I think I saw you go east last time I saw you out there in the water.
Right next to the boat ramp. That
okay.
On the other side of that. There's a big spine out there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I figured it's kind of I know that's a great spawning flat, and so I just figured that's where the fry would be. And it sounds like Paul Roth caught his fish fishing around fry too. He just found bigger ones than I did, but similar type of pattern.
Speaking of Paul, we got the man right here himself putting up first place, Trinidad, $754. Hell of a payday. Nice job coming down there and swiping our cash from us, Paul. Thanks, pal. That was that's awesome. It's good. Good to see
another first timer claiming his CKB shield.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, we've had 4 first time this season, right? Because I got one, Collins hadn't got one, Bricklin hadn't got one.
Yep,
that's true. First timers each time out.
Yeah, everybody got one this year.
Yeah,
good stuff.
And stay tuned. Someday there's talks. I'm going to put this out there. I would like to have a CKB Tournament of Champions. All first place winners come in. We drop some money on that thing, and we go fish a lake and see what the champs can do.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to stop in here and chat with us. A couple of you guys are no stranger to being on here. We're, during tournament season, I've been trying to split this thing up into a couple halves here and there and do different stuff like this so we can try to get. One of the big things I wanted to do is the local Bassmaster clubs of the states surrounding us here, our neighbors, man, our brothers and sisters around, see what we can do to kind of boost them. So looks like I got a decent amount of the New Mexico guys hanging out right now in the greenhouse. And there's the man himself. So, we're going to go ahead and make that transition. But, Scott, did you drive all the way home right after the event?
Yes, I did. Stopped halfway in Colorado Springs for dinner and then finished the 2-hour drive home. So I was a tired guy by the time I got home.
You're an animal, bro. You are a freaking animal.
He's my hero.
Like a spirit animal.
when you got a wife and 2 young kids and the wife wants you to get home, you get home.
Wow, that's awesome stuff. Come down, make some scratch, and then head on home. Bring it back to mama.
Hang on, I'll be right back. Give me 1 day. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, listen, gents, you guys be safe, and I'm going to be definitely getting out doing some fun fishing. So I'll be trying to probably connect up with you guys over here, and so we can just get out and go bend on a few around. But I'm going to be paddling my ass off for a little bit, try to get my fat butt in shape, and see what I can come around with.
Sounds good, dude. If you want to go fishing, hit me up. I'm always down.
Put a few classes on for me. Give me a once over, kind of brush me up.
I'm replacing out. By the time we're done, you'll be using 2-pound mono, buddy.
2-pound mono.
That would be an accomplishment, my man. So now I want to go just to try it.
Wouldn't that be a rubber band? 2-pound mono?
Pretty much.
I've caught 20-inch trout on 2-pound braid. So, I mean, it's possible. It's fun.
Good night. All right, boys. Well, thank you guys very much. We appreciate you stopping by the show here. Tight lines to both of you guys, and be safe out there. Let us know if you need anything.
Thanks, Gene.
See ya.
All right, we'll see you guys. All right. So we are going to go ahead and switch this. We're going to stay on the Bassmaster tip here. We've got the New Mexico guys coming in for New Mexico Bassmaster. They just had a couple weeks ago, I think it was, They just had a couple events. Let me see if I can pull this up here. I think it was on Ute Reservoir, I believe, is where they were at. They'll correct me if not. Let's go ahead and bring in the tournament director there and the guy that helped, the founder of the Feast to the Bassmaster Club down there, Mr. Matt Ramey. What's happening, brother Matt? How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, Jim?
What's going on, Matt?
Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I mean, all of us, all of our New Mexico boys, we can't we can't say enough about it. So glad to be here.
You bet, man. That's one of the things we wanted to do. Jim and I talk about this all the time. Is anything we can do to help, boost other clubs as well, man. CKB's still new and still growing, and the Bassmaster thing is where it's at. There's no doubt about that. So, and who knows? Maybe we can one of these days get in where we can, find some common ground water that we can, boost each other's numbers a little bit and have some crossover. That would be a lot of fun.
Well, just send the boys to Navajo next week, or it's 2 weeks. 29th, we'll be at Navajo.
That's like a 6-hour run, I think, for us.
I mean that it's I don't doubt it because it's like in our state too. I mean, everywhere I go to get to water, it's like 5-6 hours, and I'm like, I don't know how this is possible. I can go to East Texas in 9, so I mean,
right.
It's just crazy.
Dude, we talk about that all the time. It's like, we have to drive from Colorado out here, New Mexico, same thing. Everything is a distance away, right? So if you're going to go, go Texas, go to, for us, it's hit Nebraska where there's, bigger fish and, hit Kansas, something like that, it's might as well. If we're going to drive it and do it, let's go someplace where there's a potential for some, 20 plus.
I'm with you, man. I already mapped our Navajo, as the director for the trail. I've already mapped Navajo. It's 8 hours and like 25 minutes for me to get from Carlsbad to Navajo within my own state. So I'm like from corner to corner for me.
Wow. Is that whole lake? Are you opening up the whole lake for launch locations for anybody coming from any direction?
Yes, I'm pretty sure on that, James, as long as because I think New Mexico, Colorado has a either or license agreement. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I'm letting, they can launch on the Colorado side if they want or anything like that as well.
Nice.
So this last June 8th and June 9th, you guys were at Ute Lake. These are qualifier events. And June 8th, you had, let's see what we're looking at here. Yeah, you guys are like real similar. You had 28 guys show up there for the event. And we're going to go ahead and bring in a top 3 from that event on that Saturday here. And then we've got also that, or actually was that, it was a Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
So then, and then you guys did a back-to-back deal, kind of like we've done. We did at Red Willow, I think almost maybe the weekend before, weekend after, where we did 2 events back-to-back at the same location.
Yeah. I think it was back-to-back weekends. And me and Jim have talked about that multiple times in the last year or so. So,
yeah.
Let's go ahead and get those guys. Jeff O'Brien, did I say that correct? Let's bring him in. What's happening, Jeff? You're muted, and you're wearing a really dark costume.
Yeah, funny enough, just for the viewers to watch, Jeff and I are at the same house. That's my father-in-law. So that's
great.
My tournament partner. That's the guy I travel with, everything about fishing related. So like we were sitting too close to each other, so I had to walk away because our mics were interfering with each other's stuff. So
gotcha.
I don't think my camera's going to work, so I may just kill mine and jump on with Matt.
Or you can just do audio too. Whatever's up for you, Jeff. You're good to go.
Okay, I'm good with that.
And then Matt, you came in second on that event, and then third place was Mr. Terry Dorr, one of our Colorado guys running down there to New Mexico. Let's bring in Terry here. What's happening, Terry?
Hey, thanks for having me, Gene. Appreciate it,
man. You bet.
Yeah.
Well, going down there and taking our brother's money down there. That's Terry's our mole, just so you know, Matt.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
He's gathering info for us.
Oh man,
I'm the adopted New Mexico child, so
I'll take Terry any day. He can continue.
Nice.
I will have to say both clubs are really good. Experiencing both of them, they both have very similarities. And the fishing and the experience that you get from all the fishermen is just top notch. So experiencing that both is just, from me personally, I think they're both great clubs.
Matt, have you fished Colorado waters much?
I mean a little bit, but no, not enough to to feel comfortable coming up there and competing against you boys.
Well, I have a feeling it's the same kind of fishing, dude. I really do. I think we're all playing with no weeds.
It is. It's very
And
similar.
It's just structure. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Structure and rock. I mean, those are I know we're very similar in terms of that. And I mean, even like I watch y'all stuff as closely as I watch our stuff, and inches are about the same. For whatever reason, I do think y'all get a little bit bigger smallmouth population, so you do have a little bit higher overall length, but they're really, really close. I mean, from what Terry and Ryan, when he came last year, said to me, they fish the same, know how to fish. I mean, never seen a lake, but they're taking our money consistently. So I mean, that's just a testament to the quality of waters we both have.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and bring in the other guys here. On day 2, Anthony Barrera took out first place. Let's go ahead and bring this guy in. He's been patiently waiting. What's happening, brother? How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
You bet, man. And second place on that same day was Richard Ross. We'll go ahead and bring him in. He has connected up. What's happening, Richard?
I'm doing great, sir. How are y'all?
Man, we're doing good, man. We're this is so cool to have this junction. We're missing Tim Hicks. He wasn't able to make it. He came in third place on that second day. And Matt, you were knocking right on the door, buddy. You were fourth on that day as well.
Just couldn't get a big bite.
Right. Well, I'm looking at the results, and it really is, man. This feels, it's very similar. Would you guys say down there that you have, is it more green fish than brown fish, or is it a balance, or what are you guys dealing with down there? Jeff, let's talk to you, since you paced them on day 1 there, and took their money. What's the water like down there in Ute Reservoir?
So for me, it was 4 smallmouth and 1 largemouth. My largemouth was my kicker at 17.75. Probably caught 35, 40 fish that day. And I would say all of them except for 2 were smallmouth.
35 or 40 fish you caught?
Yeah, I smashed them on that day, and I caught everything under the sun. I caught bluegill, I caught walleye, I caught catfish, but I wound up between 35 and 40 bass. I culled 6 times to get my to win it. So yeah, it was a great day on the water. It wasn't near that good Sunday, but for me, but Saturday was just an absolute blast. I caught fish from the time I started out with a BFS micro buzz bait and just had a ball with that, and then just steadily culled up through the rest of the day.
That's awesome. We got a bell ringer in the background.
I think Matt's at church. I think we interrupted his church session.
Yeah, that's my child.
Awesome. I was waiting to hear, she gave me water. Bong. What's up?
Hi.
Hey, little one.
Yeah, and it's funny because I caught 4 largemouth and 1 smallmouth on Saturday.
Oh, so you were the exact opposite. Okay.
I was the exact opposite guy that day. I caught more largemouth than I ever caught in smallmouth, and just worked out that way for me.
That's awesome stuff. Terry, you smashed a 19-inch. Was that a smallie or was that a largie?
That was a smallie, and I think that was my PB. I didn't weigh it, but that's my PB smallie lengthwise.
Oh yeah, that's a moose.
And things from that point switched for me to where I was able to, again, the confidence level. I've talked to this to Jimmy before too. It's a confidence thing. It's making sure that you stick with something and feel comfortable. The 3 tournaments that I really kind of came away feeling really good about, one of them was actually Trinidad, All-American Kayak Championship. And this one, I stayed probably within anywhere from a 200 to 300 yard stretch. That was it. And just kind of came back and forth. And I thought for sure that 19-inch was actually a catfish because it was rolling like a catfish. And then when I saw that, I was like, oh, this thing better not pop off. It better not. And that really changed everything from that point on. And talk about the excitement and that thrill of getting that and actually looking. And I don't like to look that often, but once I got to 19, I'm like, okay, I want to look, see the standings. And I'm like, okay, I can compete here. I'm doing okay. And then things really switched in like the last hour. I caught 2 that I was able to cull and move on up there. So, one of the things that we had that got me to 3rd place, unfortunately, sorry, Richard, he had one that he submitted a photo, but it was, if I'm right on this, Matt, he didn't have the back end of the tail and the measurement showing, so it got rejected. So I would have probably been in 4th. But I said, Richard, I said, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I don't feel bad for you, but I appreciate that. But,
a little Christmas gift. Nice.
Yeah.
You're a giver, aren't you, Richard?
Yeah.
So just to clarify, I was a different Richard. He's a great fisherman
different
as well.
Richard.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Me and him are on neck and neck.
Richard
It's like
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I'm not. Is it Castellanos? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. Castellisi. So
very cool.
But so much fun. And the last 2 times I was at Ute Lake, got skunked. So I did not do well at all. And so I came in just wanting to have some fun. And I had fun. Came off the lake, and it was just so much joy. That's for sure.
Good stuff. So day 1 gets done. Anthony, what did for you to come in and take them out on day 2, man? Was it did you see some stuff on day 1 you thought you could make some adjustments on, or how'd that play out for you?
No, to be honest, I think I got lucky. Tried a new spot that I didn't even pre-fish. Did pretty good there. Caught some good ones. I believe I had 16, 15, and 13. I think I had 4 fish by 9 o'clock. And then I made a big decision, took a big risk, and went across before the winds kicked in. And then that's when I caught my 19. And that was a largemouth. I had the other ones were smallies. And I needed 1 fish to cull. I think I had a 12-inch. And then I was able to cull that. And then I was done by 10:30, I believe. And it was a long day after that because I could see that leaderboard and So.
Should have just got off the lake, went and grabbed a burger, and just watched Tourney X, right?
Yeah, but Anthony, man, I've been there and I know that is the worst feeling because all you're doing is going, who's going to catch me? Who's going to catch me?
Yeah.
And you're thinking of that with the voice in your head, and then you're trying to execute, and you should be slowing down, but you're speeding up because you're under pressure, and then you're jumping around. And meanwhile, that is the worst feeling ever, just to know that you're going to sit and watch yourself lose it.
Well, and you had Richard Ross sitting here climbing up the leaderboard. Snyder, Richard, you were moving in on him there. Did you see that he was kind of holding steady? I mean, were you salivating at that, or how'd that play out?
So we're best friends. I mean, this guy married me and my wife together. We fish, we hunt together.
That's awesome.
He's my brother. So it was kind of funny because I'm like, so Anthony, don't mind me saying he's new to fishing. And like, just to see him climb the ladder in the last year and a half is like huge. Like he really is. I shouldn't have taught him anything. I'd be like, dude,
right.
Do an over under with a giddy up and you're good.
Wait, is that a knock?
Just trust me, 4-pound test is plenty.
It's good. You're good.
No, I'm totally messing around. No, Anthony, great fisherman. I'm so proud of him. He's a brother.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
On, he always finds them. I wouldn't have been surprised one bit if he would have cut a couple big more.
You know, we're the same way at CKB up here. It's like you know the anglers really well. A lot of us are friends outside of, just angling, and it's not uncommon, that it's like, here they come. This is gonna get. It's kind of like in NASCAR. If you had Dale Earnhardt, Senior on your bumper, it's like the worst place you want to be, man, is out in front.
That's a great analogy. I like that.
Right? Because something bad's about to happen.
Let me ask Matt, since you're the tournament director and stuff, and most of you anglers will know this too. How many sandbaggers do you guys have in your club? Because I know we've got 3 good ones.
I have about 3 or 4. You know, I don't know if that's a testament to their determination to keep hunting fish and stay away from the application and the process of, you know, taking their mind off of their day. And really, sometimes they're just such good anglers that they don't want to distract themselves or do anything separate. Like, they have one goal and that's their mission. But yeah, like every time you get on Tourney X in our club at home, I mean, Richard, Anthony, Jeff, like the Tim Hicks, like there's a lot of guys, right? Like you get on there and you're like, I don't believe this for a second. I'm not going to do this because I know they're coming. I know they're coming. So we're the same way. Yeah, we're a family group as much as you can be with the cohort we have, and you just know that you get to weigh and you're like, dude, tell me right now because leaderboard's turned off. I know you didn't get that.
Yeah.
Well, you actually did
as
something.
a tournament director, I don't get a lot of people asking me, "Hey, how did I do?" or "Did somebody sandbag?" Because even if they did, I wouldn't tell them. Because, you know, as a director, we have our directors page, and we can see once the time is up after line's out who's bringing the fish in, or when the leaderboard gets shut off, we can watch them. And my wife does the same thing, and I'm like, I'm not telling you nothing. You're outside information. Sit back and watch just like we do.
Well, Matt did something different this time, actually, which it was nice, but part of it was due to the weather just being so hot and people don't want. He let it go all the way. He didn't turn it off. So for both days, he just let, you know, so that way if people knew they're not doing well, they can get up and go and not have to deal with the heat and whatever. So that was a new experience for me, and it was appreciated just because of how hot it was. You wake up and it was 72 degrees and you're like, wow, this is going to be a warm day. And it was.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, thanks, Terry, for that. I mean, I'm glad that worked out well for you. I mean, that's good to hear some feedback on it because, you know, I only know how much our bodies can handle in our heat down here. And to just get people inside, rehydrated, recovered for that second day, that was something I was hoping to do. And so I'm glad that, you know, that worked out.
So, question: your guys' inspection down there. How number one, do you guys, obviously in New Mexico, do they require an inspection for motorized kayaks?
They do. It kind of varies between the state parks on how they handle their information, or just let's say their aquatic invasive species program. It's really depending on staffing and the lake conditions. So, you know, we all have the same. I have the same rules probably as most people, but it's an angler's responsibility to make sure they're clean, drained, dry.
Yep.
If they launch it somewhere that doesn't get an inspection station, that's okay. That's their responsibility. If something were to happen, rules are there for that purpose. But yeah, we had about half of our guys get inspected at Ute, and then at Elephant Butte, our last tournament, we had almost 3/4 of them get inspected. So it's been ramping up, but it's difficult. But it is inspected on all motorized vehicles.
Nice. Jeff, on day one there, when you went out, do you have history on this lake, Jeff, at Ute, or was it just a real good pre-fishing that took you to the mother lode there? He might not be able to hear us.
There you go. I'm back.
Oh, there you are.
Take a second.
Yeah. So Jeff, I was asking, do you have history on Ute, or was that epic day you had there? Was that just something you figured out in practice?
You know, we fished it last year. That was the first time I fished it since I was a kid. And then, you know, just didn't pre-fish at all. Just kind of got out and said, you know, I'm just going to do what I do, you know, and just fish it and see what happens. And it just for some reason it worked out. You know, nice. I threw a 330 second out, shaky head, and that's what every single fish on the leaderboard came on.
That's awesome, man! Shaking it right to the front. Good stuff. So, Richard, most of the New Mexico water that's out there, is it a finesse game for New Mexico as well, or can you get some power fishing in?
So I'm more of a power fisherman, but when I get like 2 bites, yeah, it's finesse for sure. For me personally, yeah, I love to cover water. I a lot of people say I paddle way too much, but I just want to just cover water. I get 2 bites, I stop, I slow down, and yeah.
You paddle, pedal, or power, buddy? Which one?
It's all. So I get in shape for hunting season. So I love motors. It brings more people into the sport, but for me, I just got to wake my legs up for September.
Nice. What are you floating on out there?
12-foot pro angler.
Pro angler. Okay. Yep. Hobie.
Yep. They have 180 drive.
Nice.
People keep telling me I need a 360. We'll see.
I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of those things grenade. The 180s seem a lot more bulletproof to me. But I'm not a Hobie guy, so I don't know.
I've definitely treated mine as well as I can, but it's definitely taking some abuse.
Yeah. Anthony, on your side, man, so you're kind of new coming in. Are you a finesse game? Are you throwing that 4-pound line, bro, or do you hooking up that 50-pound braid like I am, going bring it?
No, Ross helped me out with this a lot this year at our first tournament at Butte. It was a finesse game. It's been real finesse, slowing it down, getting back to the basics. You see cover like we were talking about earlier, go for it. They're probably there. But been having to slow it down really, really slow.
Now, have you bass fished any other state, or is this the first place you're learning bass fishing is New Mexico?
I grew up in New Mexico, and I fished as a kid. I thought I knew how to bass fish until I met these guys. Me the last couple of years, and I had to step up my game. So
Anthony, if you don't mind, I'm going to interrupt. Tell him my worst lure.
What was that?
I hate to interrupt, but tell him my worst lure.
Your worst lure?
Yes, the one you used to throw all the time until we started fishing series together.
Oh, the crankbait. Yeah, I was throwing
crankbait. Oh, gosh, don't do a crankbait. Sorry.
So I got rid of it this year, and it's been working out really well. Yeah, I've been going for that. Getting back to the basics, really.
Terry, you have a chance to fish both waters. Do you echo what Anthony's saying about this as far as like Colorado? We know it's the finesse game. That's what's going to do. How similar are the New Mexico waters? If there's other Colorado guys thinking of coming down to join in, how similar is it?
It's very similar. Most of my fish that I caught was on the drop shot.
Yep.
The last 2, I basically did a swim jig. Just to change it up because the drop shot was not working for me, but it is very similar. You got cliffs, you got rock that drops off, you got little channels here and there, but you do have some timber on other areas too. So
nice.
For me, it's definitely, and that's one thing I tell the Colorado guys, give it a try. I was talking with Josh, who was on earlier. He was thinking of trying the Navajo one. So I'm like, the more we get out there, and these guys put on a great show, just like the CKB. You can't go wrong. You're going to learn a lot. There is some difference. So I know Richard just said don't use the crankbait, but that's what did it for me in the championship on the day 1 was the crankbait. But that was conscious, a little bit different. So the lakes there can vary. When you look at it, you do have some dirty areas. You do have some weeds and some of the stuff, but the lakes to learn, I think, are very similar to Colorado's.
Matt, are they all man-made out there as like ours are out here with like just an occasional iceberg lake or?
All man-made here. So I mean, everything's dammed and usually deep rock. With northern end is got some like juniper and buckbrush, and then the southern end is mesquite and like catclaw and things like that. So I mean, your structure is basically invasive species or like juniper trees or something like that. So mostly rock.
When did you form the New Mexico Bassmasters? When that was just like last year, wasn't it?
Last year was our first year. So yeah. I mean, originally our kind of trail has
He'll be back.
Yep.
Give him a second.
Co-founder / co-director of that trail. That trail was what we built our name, our reputation, all that stuff on, and eventually got transitioned into New Mexico Bass Nation, essentially. I mean, Philip's still the director for that trail, but this is the first year that we didn't have a schedule for that one. So kind of, it was good for me, but I mean, we hate to see something happen, but the new stuff, a new look on life and getting a national berth at the end of our trail is something that I really craved. The motors, everything like that, right? So, I mean, as our sports evolved, I wanted to evolve with it, and that's why I essentially started New Mexico Bass Nation for us.
That's
So
awesome.
it was a combination of that, but I really want our guys, same as you and Jim, to get our anglers to that next level, because I know we kind of all. I know, Gene, you travel nationally, and Jim, you have done too, and we do fishing national events, and I've done some stuff too, but I want them to experience it. So my goal is for our anglers to get their names out, get that experience, get the culture of what that next level looks like, and just get them excited about it, because that's going to bring more people into our sport, and that's ultimately my goal, right? I mean, that's same for Jim
Right.
as well, but yeah, so that's our goal. So 2 years now, and it ain't going to stop anytime soon.
So I want to, and I'll throw this out to all the anglers that are here, and I want to just you chime in and answer this. I was in the boat world to begin with. My experience with the bass boat clubs was not the greatest. I'll be honest. Felt real clicky. Felt really difficult. Like the guys were kind of expecting me to be around for 5 years before I would like start to maybe get to know them type thing. I didn't like the way the back of the boat fished against the front of the boat. That made no sense to me whatsoever. When I got involved in kayak and got a chance to join the CKB, this is what a bass club should be, man. Where it's respect. I may not know everybody in the club, but I respect them, and there's information sharing that takes place and accountability for each other. We hold each other to a high standard. Do you guys find the same thing within the bass club itself, or do you have any experience from the boat world? Whoever wants to chime in, jump in on that.
I don't have any experience on the boats, but this club, everybody is more than willing to help out, and everybody is there to help each other out, support each other.
Yeah, I would have to say too, even with me with that coming in third place, the applause and the gratitude that I received was just astounding. You know, it's probably get the same thing in CKB if I ever get anywhere in the top three. But you know, that was just a lifelong dream for me, and to experience that with these guys and having the connections that you do from both the CKB and the New Mexico side is like that's what I really like about the kayak fishing. If I win, that's a bonus, but being able to meet people and learn some techniques, you know, good or bad, it's something that is ingrained in me now. And I think the biggest thing is that people kept telling me is like, if you feel comfortable with something, stay with it. You know, go out there and somebody, Chris Klein told me, he's like, you got 5 rods, bring 5 lures that you really want to hit. You can have some backups, but try and go with the 5 that you really feel comfortable with. And that's what I did there, and didn't really change things up. So for me, it was definitely a learning curve. And even at, you know, the Trinidad, learned a lot too from some of the guys. So for me, being a 58-year-old and being in kayak since 2020, I have a lot of experience, but not on the kayak side. And I absolutely love the kayak. I don't think I would ever want to be in a boat. I like that one-on-one feeling. It's you. You're out there. You got to decide where you want to go. And I think both clubs have really given me that insight to move forward. And thanks to Jim here too, to posting that last year about looking at the New Mexico side, and that's how I got connected with the New Mexico side.
Jeff, you have any experience from the boat side of things, or have you been kayak from day one?
You know, when I was younger, we used to fish a lot of boat tournaments. My dad and I, we fished a lot of the big, the Sealy events, and then we fished, the big Ullmans at like Amstead. We traveled a lot and fished a lot of the local club stuff. But like you said, it gets real clicky real fast, right? I mean,
Right.
I could tell you what broke me was from the boat side was getting in first place in Amstead, and business owner that he's buddies with everybody, shows up 15 minutes late to weigh in and beats me, and they let the guy weigh in. And I'm like, okay, and at that time I think I was 23 years old, And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much done with tournaments, after that. And then, Ramey, of course, got me in a kayak for the first time. I probably hadn't competitively bass fished in a tournament in 15, 18 years until about 3 years ago. And I went to a West Texas event, and, you pull up to a ramp and you're by yourself and you've got this kayak to load and people you've never met are bending over backwards to help you. It's just that feeling of camaraderie and, that closeness of you met these people, yet they're going to drop what they're doing to help you to where, you don't see that in a lot of other times. They're going to laugh at you if you're having a problem loading your boat, right? I mean, so for me,
Jeff,
I said,
if you don't mind me asking, how old are you, Jeff?
I'm 50.
Oh, okay. Shit, you're young.
Yeah, right. Tell my knees that.
Matt,
my knees know that
I'm the old guy again.
I don't know.
Are you?
Terry's 58.
I'm 58.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He's
Can't
old.
you tell?
Terry's
Great. Look at
Terry's the old guy, right?
I'm the old guy, man.
He's just in like 3 times better shape than I am, though, at 51. But we're not going to talk about that.
Right.
Matt, what are you, like 19? How do you have a 50-year-old father-in-law?
Oh man, I guess cradle robbing. I guess no, I'm 30 now. I'm good old 31 now, so it don't look too bad anymore.
31 you're in. I mean, what I found was that when you hit the first number 30, it's like you're still new. But once you hit 31, you're in now, dude. You're in your 30s. That's it.
I'm a vet.
Right. Richard, how about you, man? Any you come from the boat world, or was it kayaks from the day one with tournaments?
No. As far as competitively fishing, I started Matt mentioned Eastern New Mexico. I started about a year and a half ago with my buddy Anthony Barrero. We actually started at Zia, a great event, and the payout is huge. If you guys can come down from Colorado and make that, it's honestly it's a big tournament for us. How many people are in there, Matt? You think?
Oh, for Zia, I've averaged over 75 anglers for the last 3 years.
Okay. Yeah. So back to what Jeff said. Honestly, it's the community. I've never fished on the back of a boat or the front of the boat. I mean, I grew up fishing, but I mean, Jeff nailed it perfectly. I will stop everything I'm doing. I'll be 15 minutes late on the water just to make sure you're on the water and safely. I mean, it sounds weird, but 15 minutes is make sure somebody's on the water, having a good time, and being safe is key.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, guys, I want to absolutely, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you guys for coming on our little show, man, and sharing your experience and talking about the club. I want to make this a normal thing going forward. One of my ideas for the future here is we'll have we can start doing some of these where we can just take a full hour and we'll talk about an event, or we'll talk about the club, maybe a special event coming up. I'll work with Matt on this, and now that we're connected through Facebook and email and such, let's make sure we stay, because it truly is the fact that anything we can do to help boost each other's club, man, that's a big deal. That helps us all. That helps Bassmaster as a whole. The kayak series gets stronger. It keeps going in the direction it's going. And sooner or later, somebody's going to understand they better start paying attention to the West here, because, from the desert to the mountains here, we got some hooks that are sitting out here that are ready to come take some of these suckers' money. And
Matt is a past Hobie champion, right? You won the Hobie BOS series, haven't you, Matt? Was it Texas?
Yeah, BOS Lake Fork, and then 22 represented Team USA in Sweden. So
wow.
we're out here.
And I fished against you at the 2019 TOC in Lake Ouachita at the Hobie TOC, right? Weren't you at that one?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know for a while. I know I'm doing it right because Saturday Matt was on my spot. He got there before me, but the weekend before I pulled out 96 inches on smallmouth alone.
Oh my God!
I forgot about that, Richard. I got after that Saturday, and I said I smashed him in Richard's spot, dude. I flipped a jig in it, dude, and it went whack, and I was like, "All right, cool, here we go."
It's a great spot. Don't tell Anthony, because I'm pretty sure all fish is both there.
I felt
But-
bad, and then Sunday I didn't catch a fish out of it, but I was like, I gotta leave. I was like, I felt bad. I smashed him on Saturday out of there.
Oh no, it's
Matt,
that,
I get. Go ahead, Rich.
no, that weekend before it was crazy. When you have smallmouth, seriously, 20 inches coming out of 12 feet of water to kill a topwater, it was great.
That's epic stuff, man.
That is.
Matt, I got to ask you before we let you guys go here. Just a little bit earlier this year, you smashed a freaking swamp donkey.
Yeah.
Talk to
Yeah,
us about that. That thing was epic, fat largy, like thick with two C's.
Oh man, dude, PK, yeah, that. I mean, I've had a great year, and Jim knows about this. I'm gonna go on a little tangent for you for a second, but it's so hard to be a director and fish. And I watched the early part of the podcast where y'all kind of alluded to that, right? Like Jim, you mentioned you're kind of in a slump, dude, and you're like, hey, I'm just here for my people at this point. I'm gonna get my job done, make the best trail I can, and it is so freaking hard to do that. And like I when I line up my schedule, I mean I'm closer to Texas than I am most of my lakes, so it's like PK's 5 hours from me, but Utte's 4 hours and 55 minutes. It's like, so I mean, the realistic of it, right? But man, I was very fortunate. Had a bad practice, went to a starting spot I wanted to that looked right. I was like, you just pick a spot. Sometimes you have a good feeling, dude. Shad spawned like crazy. The water was boiling in the back of my cove. I was like, all right, cool. Get a limit. No, my first fish of the day was at 24 and a half. She was post spawn. I wish I could have caught her a week earlier, maybe 2 weeks earlier. She only went out 7-11 on the scale, but I couldn't imagine. I didn't really think that fish would hold at Possum Kingdom, to be completely honest. The history there is too incredible, but I know I got to kind of talk about it when I was on the Kayak Bass Nation podcast. That catch, man, solidified a really good day for me that turned really badly quickly. But when I caught her, I fought her for about 60 seconds, man, on a spinnerbait, first hour of the morning in a shad spawn. She was just eating everything, probably. Ate it, but the spinnerbait broke in half when she went into the net.
Wow.
So
That's exactly what I was going to say on that. As soon as you said spinnerbait, I just thought, please don't unravel, like open up, or don't break.
Yeah.
And there it was.
Yeah, no, she did. And like the first, 10 seconds was like she came up, did the whole head waggle. I lost it, adrenaline spiked, and I was like, oh dear God, I'm gonna lose this fish because I can't control myself because I knew how big she was. And I think every good angler has a point in a fish fight that feels like an hour long where they're like, calm down. And I'm like, talking to myself. I wish it was on GoPro because I'm like, calm down, dumbass. You got this. Back the drag off or click the spool and let's handle our business. And I did. I kept her down the entire rest. As soon as she hit the net, man, shook, and it literally blades fell on one side and the hook was in her mouth still, but she was not on the line. And I have it wrapped over the trophy at the office, so the two halves of the spinnerbait.
That is epic stuff, man. I appreciate you sharing that because that's just 24 play. Good night. I mean that is just, you're right. If that thing was pre-spawn and not post-spawn, that was probably a 9, maybe even a double digit. I mean, she would have been up there.
She might have been close. I mean, I think there was an angler that said he caught a 23 and a quarter or something. She went almost 11 pounds.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like,
wow.
I was like dumbfounded. I mean, I just caught maybe she was northern strain. I don't know. She was long.
That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you sharing that because that's the kind of stuff. That's why we all do it, right? Is that story right there? We want to have one of those, right? That we can pass on and tell people because that story will never get old. That story can be told time and time again, no matter the campfire you're around or the fireplace you're sitting in front of. That story remains in play because that's good stuff.
Do we have time for one more question, Gene? I got a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Give us a quick explanation of your setup, your series, how it works. Is it a trail series and certain amount of series you got to fish to make the championship to qualify for the Kayak Bassmaster National Championship? What's your format?
Yeah. So our format, guys, on the New Mexico side, really, it's very similar to y'all's. But what I ended up doing this year was going. You have to have 4 events fished to qualify for state or win a tournament. So my first place guys go directly to the state championship, and then everybody else that fishes 4 of the 6 will qualify at the end of the season. So really, Navajo, I'm going to get probably 80% of my anglers qualified through that route, right? I mean, objectively, that's the goal, is just to get everybody I can into that state championship. And I know it's a little bit different for everybody. I know, like Jim, you guys have like I think it's 2 event qualification, and I have a 4 event out of 6 total. So that's kind of where we're at, right? We've got 3 events under our belt of 6 regular season events, state championships later this year. Out of that, we're going to qualify our top 10 out of the state championship, which is standard Bassmaster rules for us that we got to fly as directors. But essentially, that's kind of our objective right now. So I'll probably continue with that. 6 events is kind of where I think our happy medium is.
Yep.
And try to do a couple double up weekends. It seems like our guys are holding out pretty true to that. It's been pretty good. I know you guys are also doing it as well. I had 28 on Saturday this 2 weekends ago and 24 on Sunday. That's
Nice.
really good retention numbers for me.
Yep.
So I'm super happy with that. But and then Angler of the Year for us, right? We still have an Angler of the Year that's completely separate from qualifications. Right now, Jeff O'Brien is in first. Anthony Barrera is our second place. Ryan or Richard Ross is, I believe, you're fourth, maybe Richard, by 1 point.
Third, Anthony's got maybe by 1.
Yeah,
I got to be by a point. So that's a separate deal for us. That's still, I think, the highest.
How many
goal.
events for AOI?
Yeah,
How many events do they got to fish for AOI?
5 of 6, and then the championship. So it is a total 6 events total out of the season. So 5.
Very cool.
Yeah,
But,
great format.
yeah,
No, that's excellent. That's excellent. And it's great. You know what's great about it though is BASS gives us directors the ability to create our own format. They don't say that, hey, you have to follow this, and every state is following that exact same format. You know, Matt runs his show the way he does, based on the amount of anglers and the participation and how many people are in his group. And how I run it is different. It's just a little different, but I love the way BASS gives us that freedom to run the club for the best success within that state.
I know Matt just dropped off, but a huge shout out to him for keeping it alive.
I think his phone died, boys, but he's sitting right here with me.
I'm here.
Oh, there you go.
Well, thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. I hope you keep it going for years.
It's good having backup, but you're not wrong, Jim. It is great that we get to have that, and I think that we've talked about that a few times, Jim. Just the variability between the trails and kind of what we want to see, and my goal was to keep retention up as much as I could. So that's why I went like the 4 of 6.
Yep.
For the qualifying and stuff. I mean, it's a hard balance of getting people back to the events, but also not overdoing it on them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot, right? It's a lot of money, time away from family. You know, it's everything.
Well, and one thing I want to make sure to pass on and kind of echo Ross's statement to you on this, Matt, and to you, Jim. You guys make sure, number one, we love these series very, very much, but we are still all friends out there. You guys do what you have to do to stay healthy so you can keep fishing with us, because you guys are tournament directors. That's awesome. But we also love fishing against you and with you. So get help, count on your members of the club. They got your back. To help, with the management, because I of all people can appreciate now, after getting my feet wet with that a little bit at the beginning of the season, and understanding you guys do a hell of a lot of work, and don't be afraid to talk to your members. We got your back as well. We'll take some busy work off your hands if that's what's needed, because we love, like I said, not only do we love the series that you guys have created, but at the same note, we love fishing with you and against you. So stay mentally good there.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
To add to this too, Gene, with Matt and Jim, they both at the end of the season will reach out and say, hey, do you have any suggestions, any ideas to improve these things? So that's the nice thing, because you can have some feedback when it comes to that. Hey, what else do you think can improve this thing? So giving it open or leaving it open to the other anglers makes you feel really truly part of that tournament, schedule and everything else. So that is very appreciative, I think, from my end, though, having that ability to throw in some input that may be acceptable or may not. But if you don't say it, you'll never know.
I was going to say, we're all adults. We know that not everything will be always taken, but it is cool, like you said, Terry. It is cool and important that, hey, man, there's no dumb suggestions. Throw it out there, and let's talk about it as a group and see if it makes sense. Because I don't know how many times I'll have an idea I'll throw out, and then all of a sudden somebody like Trev or somebody will say something, and it's like, oh shit, I didn't think of that part of it. Good stuff, and that's the advantage of putting that stuff to round table, right? That's, again, we're back to, this is what a bass club should be, man. What New Mexico has created, what Colorado's created. Love the fact. Thank you guys so very much for, like I said, for taking time out of your schedules and hanging with us, and get ready for more of this in the future. I want to get a channel open with New Mexico. Let's start doing this on the norm. Monday nights is what we've got, and if we have to do some recordings that we air later, we can do that too, man. So I'll work with people's schedules on that. But top 3, that's what I've been trying to do here to get out there. So podcast season is still a few months off. So while we're in tournament season like this, it's always fun to put that stuff up. So Matt, if you got anything big brewing up there that you want to help spread the word on or whatever, tell your guys in the club to, jump on the TPO, either Facebook or YouTube or whatever, because we'll shout it out there for you for sure.
Thanks, man. Honestly, I'll get with you because there is things that I need probably a larger platform to promote and things like that. Richard mentioned it. The Zia is one that is a unique tournament that I run as a director. And I think that everybody should be a part of it. We give away a Hobie almost every year. Depends on the model, but things like that. So,
for sure.
Before my time here, it's not. I try not to talk too much, but I want to tell Jim, Gene, thank y'all so much for giving my guys a platform to come on. This is really cool for them, and I'm very thankful for that because it's something that we don't get a lot of publicity. You guys understand that as well out of the Colorado side.
Hell yeah.
Struggle. So thank you for allowing these guys to promote themselves and be on your show.
Hey, man, it's totally our pleasure, 100%. This is, I've said this before, Colorado has been the base of this podcast. I've got followers that range from the East Coast across, and apparently we're pretty damn big in Italy, I guess, according to the metrics. I don't speak Italian, but...
Must be Massimo. Must be from Massimo.
Right?
There you go.
But no, man, it's the way I figure it is that if we're not going to get any love out here on the West Side, even less than some others, then we'll just take care of it ourselves, man. And we've got a platform here. Let's we take care of each other, and because like I said, there's some damn good hooks and damn good people out here, and you want to hear from them. They can teach you a lot. And there's a lot of good life lesson stuff. We do a lot of extra stuff too. So who knows, man? As far as the TPO, the nonprofit, getting a run down to New Mexico, see if we can connect up with some vets and active military guys down there, and let's put on a little event down there. That sounds like a good run. But you guys got to tell me when it's not so damn hot, because I don't want to melt. I'm a fat guy. I sweat just sitting here.
I think that shit snowed last weekend, so Navajo shouldn't be too bad.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so very much, and we appreciate you. And we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. So tight lines to you guys down there, and we'll be talking with you guys soon.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you, Gene.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See ya. All right, Jim. Well, we wrapped up another one there, man. That's good stuff. We put everything in, and now we got a bigger connection down in New Mexico. Look at that.
Yeah, no, that's what about. Those guys were happy to be on, so I'm glad you gave them the opportunity. Like I said, you do great things. You do a great job, and we all appreciate what you do for spreading the word for the front range of the Rocky Mountains, from
Right.
Wyoming, right? Because we're part of Wyoming now, right? I'm running some shit in there, so I guess I'm part of Wyoming. Uh, so Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you, Gene, for all the stuff you do for us.
of course, brother, of course. And now next on the list, I'm going to be reaching out to that Southern Nevada group down there, where I want to reach out and talk to those guys because they're kind of like out on their own little desert island as well down there. Not a lot of platforms for them, but they have some hellaciously good tournaments down there, and they're playing in the sand bowls as well.
Yeah.
Out there fishing in that stuff. So I'm going to reach out to
Water
them.
levels dropping 40 feet every year, and then back up
Right.
23 feet, then back down 60, and the fish are like,
Well, and I just think it's kind of cool and interesting to hear about that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's because it gives you a different perspective. And what is super cool is the fact that at the end of the day, man, we're still all bass anglers, we're still all fishermen, and there's still kayak anglers, and you can tell there's a deep bond that runs in that New Mexico group, man. You can see that. Those are fishing brothers. They're just the same way as I feel about, the family here at CKB. So that's so cool to and who knows, maybe there's some cool stuff we can do together down the line that put on one of those big events. And I want to hear about what Ramey's putting together, this thing with 75 plus guys.
Yeah.
We'll have to get him on there and talk about that.
Let's look into that more. And, with him being with BASS and us affiliated with BASS, we can collaborate together and find some common body of water where we can hold a tournament and still be covered with insurance. This is the reason why I can't really do any collaborations. James Leggett from Heartland has reached out. CKFC has reached out to me. And it just becomes an issue with liability and permitting and holding two events. Who's in our club? Who's in their club? Did you sign our waiver? Did I sign their waiver? But being BASS structured, Matt and I could hold something together and still be covered under that insurance umbrella and hold a great event.
That's the name of the game, is to reach out to these bass clubs and see if we can do stuff with them out there. So I got Kansas and Nebraska on the idea there to talk with them, but we'll just have to see how that manifests. I'm not quite sure. Kansas, I think I know who, how that lines up. And that's might be a more established. I'm not sure about Nebraska's bass club yet. I'll have to talk to Brian Johnson on that and see.
Yeah, I talked to Brian a fair amount, a couple times a year about some stuff, and he's got an event coming up August 3rd. His qualifier at Elwood.
Yep. Maybe we can get him on here to talk about that, because that'd be kind of cool. I know I want to go fish that before I decide to sign up for it. I want to head over there and look at it and just see.
Well, there's a talk of the CKB Recon team. Trev and Flanagan and myself have been talking to go out to Elwood and scope it out, and a couple other places. So I know you do a lot of fishing as well. I mean, that's what you do. That's what you get paid to do. So you're welcome to be part of that team and come on out with us, and let's find some lakes that we can put a good 2025 schedule together, which I'm already working on, and we're going to be talking about that here pretty soon, the 2025 schedule.
Awesome stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, thank you so much, man, for taking time out of your Monday night to come and co-host again with us, dude.
Thank
you add some good flavor to the show, man. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet. And we will we'll definitely catch you on the next one here. Let's see. I don't know. We'll have to see what the schedule holds for the CKB kind of stuff. We'll figure that out. But next week's episode, we're going to have Joey Bassraft on. Nice. This kid, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you about it off air. But this kid, you definitely want to watch this. This kid's got a craft that he has designed, and I want to say he's like maybe 20 years old. Wow. He's I love his innovation that the kids. I've met him firsthand at Okoboji. Smart kid, fun kid to talk with, and I think it's going to be fun. We'll have some video of his bass raft that he put together, and it's a kind of a cool little product for sure. So we'll have him next week here on the show.
Oh, that'll be exciting. That'll be cool.
All right, folks at home, thank you for watching live. We can't thank you enough for sticking with us here. We've had a great viewership through this entire episode here. And for those of you watching this recorded, thank you so very much. Don't forget, smash that subscribe button. It is a great way to support our cause, support the mission, keep the show rolling. As always, we will see you next Monday night at 7 p.m. Central. Tight lines, be safe.